Welcome to my channel. My name is Lisa Alastuey, and on this channel, you will find a variety of inspirational and informational videos. So if that sounds good to you and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. My guest this week is Rebecca Fitzgerald, who is the owner and executive chef of Mindful Meals located in Central Texas. Welcome, Rebecca.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me, Lisa.
Oh, it's so awesome to have you on here. So just to kind of start off, I mentioned in the opening that you are the owner and chef of Mindful Meals, but let's back it up to how you got into this in the first place, starting with kind of a little bit about your educational background. Can you share with the audience your training and so forth?
Of course. So I have always wanted to be a chef. Even as a little kid, my mom has stories of me being a very unconventional child, very picky, and in the way of like, I wouldn't eat the chicken nuggets. I didn't want that. I wanted the adult entrees. I wanted to try everything. And I loved gardening with them, gardening with my parents, and eating vegetables from a young age, which is a little abnormal for kids, but I'm very thankful and blessed that I was like that. And so started there, walking around the neighborhood, picking stone fruit, eating vegetables, gathering salads in my dress. Like that was something that was always very dear to me. And so it was only natural for me to go to culinary school when I graduated high school. And I grew up in a very small town in Colorado called Glenwood Springs in central Colorado. And so I moved to Denver. It was a huge culture shock for me. It was a very big change. And I just threw myself into it, into the business, into the industry. I went to culinary school at a university called Johnson and Wales in Denver. And I just went for it 100%. Did the culinary school thing, worked downtown, lived in the city for about 10 years. And I just realized that I always knew it would be difficult. And I welcomed that. I'm tough. I can handle anything. And so I put myself out there, went and did the grind, did all of that stuff that, I don't know if people realize how difficult it is to be a chef, working those types of hours. And it's a very kind of masochistic lifestyle. You can do anything. You can work all day on coffee, no break, no food, drinking all night, and then get back up and do it all over again. And that's very common in the industry. So at some point, I just realized that I was kind of falling apart a little bit around the edges. My life was too chaotic. And so I ended up moving home. That was maybe 6 or 7 years ago, still in Colorado, moved home, and I started working on a farm during the summer. And I just had revelation after revelation about how life doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be crazy and chaotic and a grind. I hate that term. I don't like using it anymore. And so I started to get back to myself, to find some space for healing and, looking inward on what I've been doing, what I want, how I really feel about things. And it was kind of an existential moment where everything I thought that I wanted was hurting me. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? I had to take a full 180 and make a huge change. Mm-hmm. So I ended up moving to Austin, trying to find warmer weather and just get a total reset on my life. And when I moved here, I ended up leaving my partner, and things just got changed again. Everything got shook up for me, and I ended up really starting over. And then 2020 happened, and that also shook up my life, of course. But fortunately, I was so blessed that it was the final push that I needed, just like you, just like a lot of people, to start my own business and really define what I wanted in my life. So I started, working as a private chef, making my own hours, and then just kind of honing in on what was important to me. I always noticed that there was a lot of excess in the world, things like trash. When you like go down the rabbit hole of trash, how much there is, how much we produce, where does it all go? That type of rabbit hole will shake you to your core. And that's just one of many things that, people don't really think about maybe on a regular basis. And so the more that, 2020 was coming around, and the more that I was just upset with how the world worked, the more I started dreaming up this business. So it's been wonderful. And that's kind of the whole tenet of the mindful meals is I just want to think a little bit more about where does our food come from? What's in it? When you look at the back of something at the grocery store, what is that stuff? And what is all this stuff? Where did it come from? Why do we eat it? Why do they say that you should only eat around the perimeter of the grocery store? Like all of those middle aisles, like what is all this crap? So my anger towards the world and my resentment just fueled this passion to do something that I felt was better. And so that's where we are now.
Awesome. Well, let me back up a little bit to your schooling, because I'm interested in the curriculum. Was there much emphasis on mindful cooking, mindful eating, or was it more just like your standard American diet cooking type of style curriculum?
Well, it was very, when you go to culinary school, it's very classically driven, classical French kind of classes. So a lot of the classes I took were fundamental sauce classes, things like that. And they were more almost like with an emphasis on European history. We learned all of the wine regions of France, and we learned all of the classics, mother sauces, which all have French names. They say that the Italians invented cooking, but that the French wrote it down. So they teach a lot of French kind of fundamentals. But you have two kind of emphases that you can go towards, either food and beverage management or nutrition. And I always knew that I wanted to go towards nutrition. So that was my focus. But even the nutrition classes then have a little bit more of a Western focus. And so it's very scientific, what do the vitamins do? But the more that I've learned, it's just, it's so complicated. Nutrition is very complicated. So I don't know if that really answers your question, but.
Okay. So honestly, I just was wondering how you got to that place of, starting mindful meals. And I understand that your background and you growing up and you just having a seed planted very young, just to connect to the earth and have a garden and work on a farm, and all that came to a head when you were living in Austin. So I'm wondering, what was the moment where you're like, okay, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to start this business.
Well, during 2020, I lived in Dripping Springs, which is outside of Austin, about 45 minutes, much smaller, more rural area. And I was working, my neighbor was this retreat center, and it was called 13 Acres. They're so sweet. Shout out to 13 Acres. They really helped me get through the pandemic. But it was just it was a mindful retreat center. And they kind of, the woman who owned the place, she had put up all of these signs, these like mindfulness signs, like Pima Chodron quotes, let your curiosity be greater than your fear, which was very relevant at the time. And, love your neighbors, things like that, just little inspirational quotes along the side of the road. And I always really appreciate it because I drive by there every single day. And that type of positivity was a little bit harder to find at the time. So I went to her and said, you know, how can I be a part of this? I'm a chef, this is what I do. And so she ended up looping me into the business. And that was kind of my first major client as a private chef. And then it all of my I befriended all of the people who worked there, and my friends also were, a lot of them were plant-based, vegan, had a vegan diet. And I just kept hearing from everybody, from all my friends, we don't want to go to the grocery store, we don't know how to eat, we don't know what to eat, we can't cook for ourselves, we're having a really difficult time eating at all during the day. Like, my friends are telling me things like, I'm eating peanut butter for dinner. I'm like, that is unacceptable. We cannot have that. And so I started the real brainchild of the mindful meals was prepared meals for my friends during 2020. And I would go to the farmer's market, because of course the farmer's market is my favorite place in the whole wide world. And I would buy, the best things that were available, and I would take them home and I would create meals for my friends. And that's really how it started. And then, word just got out. Just like, any good business, people start talking about it. And then I put up a Facebook post. Oh my goodness, social media. And I got a ton of people on an email list. I just said, if you want to join my email list to receive the menus, send me a message. And I spent all day long, hours and hours, manually adding these email addresses to a list on my phone. And it just has grown from there. And since then, it was like running towards the cliff. Like, I knew that I was about to take this leap into, okay, I need to make this a real business. Like, I can't just be cooking out of my friend's kitchen for my friends anymore. Like, this is turning into something real. And so I saw this leap of faith coming, and all of a sudden it was going to be like, okay, I need to go to the health department, I need to get my LC, it was like boom, 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 thing, all these things that I had to do. And I just got it done. I just did it. I'm a doer. And so it was scary. It's even scaring me right now, but it's been a process. It's definitely been a process, but I took the leap.
Yes.
And
yes, you've got to take action. I mean, for any dream, it just stays a dream if you don't, take a step toward it and have some action in place. And you definitely did that, which is awesome. So let's just talk a little bit about, the mission of Mindful Meals and some of the values that you have around your business. Can you share those with the audience?
Of course. So I really feel that, so we still do a plant-based meal delivery every week. That's like the foundation of our work. But it's been a journey figuring out, what nutrition style is best for people. So I'm gonna throw that out there, that it's every diet, every person is different. So it's been more about just refining the ingredients that we use to be unprocessed, whole ingredients that don't have any additives and are organic. And it's kind of complicated, I guess, but I've just narrowed it down to the things that I believe in, which are, no seed oils. That's coming up a lot with inflammation. So we don't use any seed oils. I'm very big on processed salts. Every restaurant that you go to uses kosher salt, which is processed salt. It's just sodium and chloride. And so you're missing out on dozens of trace minerals that you get with unrefined sea salt. So we use 100% unrefined sea salt for all of our meals. And then lots of trying to weed out all of the fillers and gums and things like that. So we make all of our own milk, nut milks. That was a difficult one. We cook all of our own beans from dry beans because, the liners of the cans and the waste of a can of beans is silly. So we cook all our beans and rice, and slowly I've been kind of transitioning to every single ingredient being organic. That's been a tough journey for because it's so costly, but everything we try very hard to get the best quality produce. I can't necessarily buy from the farmer's market anymore, but we source from Farm to Table, which is a company in Austin that sources Texas farm produce, rice, grains, things like that.
Why can't you buy from the farmer's market?
Because I would be cleaning them out. Like I can't go to the farmer's market and say, I will take all of your produce. Thank you very much.
Gotcha.
I am still kind of working. There's the local farm in Wimberly called Dirt Candy that I'm trying to get in with. And I'm always trying to build connections with those local farms. It's just, we're trying to use bigger purveyors now. So there's a company called Azure Standard where we get a lot of organic rices and oils and things like that, staples. And I'm always looking for more organic farms to work with in Austin.
Okay. So for the audience, your menu it's nothing processed. It's all natural ingredients, no artificial ingredients. And it's very healthy, and you tailor to, like you said, specific diet. So if people have a milk allergy or a nut allergy or a gluten allergy, you can really tailor the ingredients in the menu for your clients, correct?
Yeah, definitely. So our staple menu that we offer all the time is plant-based and gluten-free. And so the pitch that I give all my non-plant-based people is that I'm going to help you get all the other food groups. Let me help you get your beans, your legumes, your whole grains, and your veggies. Because something that everybody tells me is a big goal of mine is to make vegetables exciting and flavorful and well cooked and with a wide variety. If you go to a restaurant, especially in Texas, I mean, come on, Texas, get it together. And you ask for vegetables, you might get some spinach or, some green beans with bacon on them. But it's very difficult to get a plate of well-cooked, well-seasoned with a wide variety of vegetables anywhere. So that's what we do. Our vegetable of the week, which is 100% Texas vegetables, are white sweet potatoes, roasted butternut and delicata squash, cabbage, and fennel. This has been really great. So
where do you get the inspiration for your recipes? Because you come up with like a variety of ways of cooking it, seasoning it, presenting it. Where's your inspiration from?
I think that I was just reflecting on this, but I've been thinking that everything that I've been through up until now has prepared me for this moment. And I feel like it's just true. It's part of our soul journey. Is I've had multiple jobs in the past where it was my responsibility to do like the special of the day. And I'm just good at that kind of thing. It all comes from taking one ingredient and saying, okay, well, I need to use this. And like for the vegetables, it was the white sweet potato. Okay, I really want to use these white sweet potatoes. They're so beautiful. And then, well, what's going to accent that? Well, let's keep it on the sweet side. Let's put some roasted fennel. Roasted fennel is so sweet and delicious. And then it's squash season. So squash is going on everything. And cabbage is just the kind of extra accent in there that also people don't really eat roasted cabbage, but it's delicious.
Yeah. So you come up with your ideas just from trial and error and just experimenting and just thinking what is going to pair with something else, trying it. And so it just comes from you, in other words. It's not like you're reading cookbooks or whatever.
Yeah. I wish that I was more of a recipe chef. I'm really trying to be more legit as a chef, to write everything down and have more set recipes. And I do have a lot of recipes, but I do love getting inspiration from that. And something that I really like is Pinterest. I love being able to type in, like one word like butternut squash and just get dozens of recipes so I really enjoy Pinterest. but we create a different special, a chef special every week.
Mhm.
And so it has been a challenge. It's a little
Yeah.
bit of a challenge, but
It keeps it
it's fun.
interesting.
It's part of, keeps it interesting. It's part of the art of the
Yes.
cooking.
Yes. If it
Mhm.
wasn't a challenge, you probably wouldn't be as inspired. So it's good that there's a challenge there.
If you say so. Yeah.
So I saw on your website that you do, not only can people buy the prepared meals, you do catering, you do cooking classes. Can you share a little bit about that?
Of course. So yeah, the cooking classes are so special to me because it's kind of part of the mindfulness bit is we source out our cooking to other people more and more, over time. And I just read this wonderful Michael Pollan book a few months ago. I don't remember what it's called, but it's basically about the history of food in our culture, like culture and food and history. And he says that on average, people cook less than 30 minutes a day, but they watch more than 2 hours of food shows on TV, which is funny. But everybody like wants to experience that world, but they're so intimidated about getting into their own kitchen and like baking the bread or whatever it is. And so cooking classes are really important to me because it's like the teaching the man to fish thing.
Yes.
It's really, I want to empower people to be able to get back into their own kitchens and see that it's really not that hard, and it's super fulfilling to kind of take that power back.
And that creativity. I mean, because it is a creative process.
Yeah. It's so fun. You just have to throw away what you think about the error part of the trial and error. Like if something doesn't work, well, maybe you can fix it. Maybe now you've learned a lesson and you won't do it again.
Yes.
So yeah.
And plus,
And
just
then as far,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, and just plus the cooking allows you to inspire future generations. So get the kids involved where they can learn how to cook, and not everybody's just, going to McDonald's and buying, processed food all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That is something that we need to phase out of society. We cannot sustain society with those types of businesses. Like they need to go 100%.
Tell me how you feel.
Yeah, I love it. It's so empowering.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's see. And then as far as the catering and the retreats go, it's just been a natural progression of our business as we grow. I want to reach as many people as we can. And we met on a mindfulness retreat.
Yes.
It was so fun.
Yes.
I had so much fun. And being able to cook for other groups of people who also have the same intention that I do is really powerful. The connections that we build as a community and the networks that we create is really that's going to be the process that we use to actually change the world is with our networks and our communities.
Yes. I was going to mention that's how we met, as I had the opportunity to actually sample and try your menu on this 3-day retreat, which was amazing because the food is so pure and clean. I felt healthier after those 3 days because I wasn't giving myself anything, toxic or processed. And it was a nice reset when you kind of clean up your diet.
Was it still flavorful though and enjoyable?
Yes. It's amazing. Great. You really show how you can spice up a simple vegetable that's just bland and boring and not appetizing, and just to make it into something really, really amazing.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yes. So I want to talk to you about the values of mindful meals. On your website, you talk about community, awareness, and compassion as the values of your company. Can you touch on that a little bit more?
Yeah, of course. Thank you. So, touched a little bit on community, just the importance of supporting the small businesses over companies like McDonald's. We vote with our dollar in that way.
Mhm.
And if nobody went to McDonald's, they would shift. Those types of places are already saying, oh, we make plant-based burgers now. So you can
Yep.
see a little bit of a shift in the narrative, but uh, we just need to keep pushing towards that. So really supporting each other in the community, I think, is really important. And then as far as awareness goes, once you start to see things, it's very hard to unsee them.
Mhm.
When you're at the grocery store and you notice, for me, it's people using plastic bags. It makes me super crazy. You know, Imagine all the plastic bags in all the grocery stores in all of the country, and just knowing that those plastic bags just never biodegrade and they sit on the ground somewhere and are just destroying the earth. How can you justify using those? And then it kind of, grows to, well, why is everything wrapped in plastic? Why is every box of, it's just, why is this the way that we do things?
Mhm.
What's with all these single use plastic water bottles? Is this really the only way? And so then the awareness, then you start like looking around and being like, whoa, there's a lot of trash on the ground. I wonder what we could do to clean this up. Like, I'm gonna pick this trash up.
Mhm.
And then it just kind of moves. That's the whole hope, is that it grows, your awareness grows to everything that you're doing. And then all of a sudden you're looking at the backs of your milk and you're like, whoa, there's a lot of ingredients in here,
Mhm.
or whatever it is.
Or
And
even
so
like food waste, right? Raising awareness around all of the food that is
yeah,
wasted, that we throw out tons and tons every year. I mean, you can go to a high school cafeteria and just look in the trash can. How much of that food is just getting dumped because it's not
yeah,
appetizing. They don't like it.
absolutely. They say 40%. 40% of the food that we produce, we throw away. And how is that, not redistributed to like homeless people? Like,
Mhm.
they're absolutely, the resources that we need are present.
Mhm.
They're here. And our priorities is something I put on the website. Our priorities are a little backwards.
Mhm.
And the more that we talk about that, the more that we spread awareness about it,
Mhm.
that's the hope, that we change those things. Like,
Mhm.
we have to stand up and not allow that kind of thing to be real anymore. When I'm really on top of my life, I try to carry around like bags of oranges in my car to give to homeless people, or yeah, try to cut down on the food waste as much as possible. That's kind of where the specials come in the business.
Mhm.
And then the last one, always compassion.
Mhm.
The last value I want to touch on is compassion for the earth, of course, for each other, and then for ourselves.
Mhm.
you know I spent a long time really beating myself up and not taking care of myself, and so it took a lot of self love to really build compassion for myself. And instead of being angry with the world, like trying to soften your heart with compassion and just, sending those people love,
Mhm.
or bringing it up at, this is a practice for me, at the grocery store in a really nice way. Like, hey, have you ever considered getting some reusable bags? Look at mine. They're
Mhm.
great.
Mhm.
I buy all sorts of stuff and I put them in reusable bags.
Mhm.
So just trying to promote like better over perfect. Like,
Mhm.
people aren't going to change overnight, of course, but
Right.
being able to just promote progress with compassion, I think, is really important.
Mhm. One of the things that really impressed me at the retreat where I met you is we did, or you did a blessing before we ate, and you talked about how,
Yeah.
we just need to pause and give thanks to all the things that had to take place to get this vegetable on our plate. Because there's a big long line of awareness and compassion that we have to, be real mindful of when we're cooking and also when
Mhm.
we're eating. So can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. So, a really beautiful addition that I've made to my life, especially since I started seeing my current partner about a year ago, is we bless our meal every day. And I've never been a religious person. I'm starting to become very connected and spiritual, but being just taking a moment to acknowledge that that we're eating and that it's time to relax and allow our body to digest has been really important for me. And I just expressing and acknowledging all of the energy that goes into your food, it just brings a whole new level of gratitude when you realize, the sun's energy to the rain, the earth that's holding us, and then every single person. That there could be hundreds of people that are touching your food before it gets to you,
Mhm.
from the field hands to the truck drivers to the grocery store workers. Um, it's really remarkable the systems that we have in place to get food on the table.
Mhm.
And and I don't know if people, or I definitely wasn't thinking about it until more recently. So it's been a really beautiful practice for me to just take a second, and I feel my body relaxing, becoming present, and being present when we eat is super important. It's really common for me, for everybody, to be like on my phone, eating, working at the same time, trying to do like five things. And being able to slow that down and really ground into your body, it's great for your body. They call it fight or flight, but the other side of that is rest and digest, which is the way our body needs to be chemically when we eat. So
Mhm.
it's been a beautiful practice.
Yes, yes. And I
Thank you.
love the name of your company because people are mindlessly eating a lot of their meals because of the rush and the go-go and not paying attention and just chronically snacking throughout the day. And they're not being mindful, they're being mindless. So I think
Mhm.
it's beautiful that you have that in your company title, just as a reminder, because at the end of the day, we do need to stay more present, even with what we put into our body.
Absolutely. Yep. Thank you.
Yes, yes. So we're getting here toward the end. Do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share with the audience with regards to mindful meal or mindful cooking or eating?
Well, I would say that it's very important for you to follow your heart and follow your body, to feel into what feels good to you, what's going to nourish you. And if you need any support and you're in the Central Texas area, you can find us on mindfulmealstx.com. And I'm always here for anybody who has any questions. I really enjoy teaching and helping people. So if anybody has any questions, you're always welcome to reach out to me and get a little support in that way.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we need more people like you, Rebecca, in this world that really
Oh,
are making a difference because Lord knows we need to clean up the American diet, and you're doing your part, and I do appreciate that.
thank you so much, Lisa. I really appreciate you spreading the awareness and the compassion you're spreading.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Yes, and if you guys like this video, please sure to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to be alerted to when the next video drops. Thanks for watching.